I met a gypsy.
All right, so we are back for the quarterly report with the boys. This is number 2 for 2024. Will Brown, Broc Feeney, the lads. Boys, how are we? Halfway through the year. This one's gone quick, eh?
Yeah, it's super quick.
Yeah, I reckon so. I'm surprised it's already 6 months into the year.
Yeah, no, it has flown by. And mate, this podcast was going to be a little bit earlier, but we had to reschedule one of our talent. He had some dramas on the way to the studio last time. Everything all good there, pilot?
Yeah. I had a few dramas with the plane on takeoff. Had to do a quick turnaround and get it back on the ground. So yeah, I didn't fly for a couple of days. Made me a bit nervous, but I'm back. I flew today, so I'm back in the air.
Got the monkey off the back.
That's scary.
I was a bit nervous on the way down today. I was looking at everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm right. I'll make it today.
So walk me through the deal? Like, how do you realise that you need to turn your plane around?
Well, I had my girlfriend. She was going to come down, and I don't really monitor the carbon monoxide detector very much, but she reckons as a doctor, that's the only thing she knows in there. So she could see it was going a little bit black, and I was like, nah, that's from last time. And we were sitting there for like 15 minutes warming up, and I took off and got a big puff of smoke through, and I'm like, oh yeah, right. And don't know if I talked myself into it. I'm like, oh, I feel a little bit average. So turned back and sort of stuffed a few things up after that, but it was all right.
No way. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the idea of flying sounds great, right? And I would love one day to be the guy that gets me heli license or flies a plane. And then I'm like, bro, think about all the dramas you have when you're on the ground in a vehicle. Like, you cannot add a thing that can fall out of the sky into this equation. I fully just don't trust myself.
Yeah, I wish it was like, yeah, I'll just pull over and check how this is. But you're like, can't just pull over here. I got to actually land and check it all. So it always raises your eyebrows a bit when something goes wrong in the plane.
Yeah, but you just got it handled. A couple of days later, back on the horse, and here we are.
That's right. All good.
So I got a bit to talk about. You guys have been to Taupo, you've had Perth, you've had the Triple Crown. Wilbur went and raced in America. So I don't know. I feel like where do you want to start, boys?
It is a tough one. I don't know.
The luge racing, maybe.
The what?
The real
the luge.
race in New
Oh yeah.
Zealand.
The real race.
Yeah. That was the real race. That was more serious actually than Darwin, I think, nearly. But it's been a lot of fun the last few months. So got a lot to cover.
So I get let's just start at Taupo. So you guys had the Super 400, first time in New Zealand for a while. When was the last time both of you guys were in New Zealand for a Supercars event?
22.
Yeah.
Pukekohe was the last one in 2022. So yeah, new track this year. We went over a couple of weeks earlier just to do some testing, also some luge testing while we were there, just to get familiar with the place. And then, back for the race. So it was so cool. I mean, all the Kiwis are so good. The support's unreal. I mean, it pissed down with rain on the first day and everyone sat up on the hill and watched us. And the fans and everything there is awesome. Like, it was so cool to be back.
Yeah, and it's probably one of those things where, like, you don't know what you got till it's gone kind of thing, and it probably just fully reinvigorated all those fans.
Yeah, definitely. I think they were pretty pumped to have us back. Like you say, having a couple of years off, we probably saw it during COVID here, even in Australia, going to a track that people hadn't been to in a while. But New Zealand, the fans are crazy over there. Hey, I thought, replacing Shane, they might not really like me, but they embraced it. And it was just cool to get back over there and just see how pumped up they were to have supercars back. Yeah.
And what was the racing like from each of your perspectives?
We had a good race on Sunday.
Yeah, we had a
good
race.
You had the full Sunday battle, eh?
It was that was a cool one. We obviously, Saturday was tough. We got it wrong Saturday. But Sunday was a cool race. I think no matter if I beat you or not, it was still a cool race. Like, Broc did a great job to position the car everywhere in the right spots, and I had pretty good tyre life, I'd say, over there. So we did about 8 laps battling, and when I passed you, I thought, I'm going to run into you here and get in trouble with the team. Like, I accidentally locked the rears, and I'm like, oh, no, if he turns down.
Lucky I'm a good bloke.
Yeah. And I got the drive out of there and just got you. But that was a cool race. I think that it was cool to see, even from my point of view, I think it was cool when I was in Super 2 and even Erebus watching the two bulls go at it occasionally, like Jamie and SVG. So I watched that race back a couple of times, and I just thought it's pretty cool to be with Red Bull Ampol, but also the battle between us. So yeah, I think that was a great race.
That was good. It's
Broc,
cool. Like as you
on
sort
your
of
end?
say, like obviously I'd like to win. I would have been happier if I won, but the battle was good fun. I suppose you don't really see the two teammates go at it so often, like so openly. Obviously, if there's someone close behind us in third, the team's sort of gonna, they don't want us to lose the position. But we had such a big gap that it was like, okay, boys, this is your chance.
Green light.
Let
yeah,
it
let's
rip.
go.
You know the rules. Don't touch each other, but let it rip. So, I think he probably caught, like, he was so much faster. Like, he was hauling me in, but I think he probably caught me with like 12 or 13 laps to go. And in my head, to be honest, I thought I had a very slim chance of hanging on for so many laps, but the longer you sort of keep him behind, the harder it gets for him. But we were just sliding around, running too wide everywhere. It was a great battle. As I said, obviously you come out second best, but I think for the bigger picture to be back in NZ, 2 bulls up top, and for Tony Quinn, his team at his track, it was pretty special. Like, I think it was a real cool moment for the team. So it was a good battle, but I just hope there's plenty more this year. It was that's probably the best battle I've had in supercars, like door to door for so many laps. So yeah, hopefully it keeps coming.
That's so sick. And that was going to be my next question. Like, can you have a battle that good with someone that isn't your teammate that you actually trust?
I reckon if it wasn't my teammate, it would have been worse, because I feel like Will would have just bombed me and sort of run me off the road. Where I think that's actually what made it better, that we were, and it's our first time doing it together. We're like so nervous of running into each other because we're going to get in trouble, that we were doing like moves and like half checking out. Like, I remember around that fast ride into the hairpin, Will sort of had a run on me, and I'm like, I'm on the outside going, what's he going to do? Like, are we both going to crash? Like, it was sort of real hard. So we sort of just both really respected each other. And I feel like if it was someone else, they would have just bombed me and got rid of me straight away, and it would have been a 1-lap thing.
The gamesmanship was pretty cool. I love, like, I accidentally touched him, and then, like, you're in the heat of the moment, you're like, he brake checked me. I didn't mean to hit him. And then, like, I was like, stop hitting me. But it was definitely cool, because, like, even, like, you had to position it different, like you say, to if you're racing someone random, because you can just get into their rear bar, burn their tyres off. But I couldn't in this scenario. So I think it was turn 9. I kept getting on your outside there and putting you in the marbles, trying to get your tyres dirty, and a different sort of strategy to just bumping someone. So it was a cool battle there.
Yeah, I think everyone in the garage was freaking out.
Yeah,
like I was getting calls over the radio, like, just make sure you're doing the right thing. And I'm like, guys, we're just racing. Like, we're all good. I'm sure we're both having fun out here. Like, it was sick. But yeah, I obviously get the fact that everyone's worried about us, but. Yeah. I think we showed that we can do it now, so hopefully they sort of let us do it. We can do it more often.
Yeah, it's like two brothers, and you're just like, no. Let them go.
Yeah.
They'll sort it out. Just let them. The mum's there. Break them up. The dad's in the
like,
back.
go on, son.
They got to sort it out.
Yeah.
Let him watch.
That's what it was like. Yeah. No, it was good.
What was the radio comms like?
I think it was quite good. I think our my engineer definitely loves a bit of I don't know what it is, but in the pits it's hard when you're not in the car and that sort of stuff. You're only hearing what the driver's saying. So I think in the pits they were all thinking, is Broc backing Will up, or is Will deliberately hitting him? But it was very minimal, wasn't it? Touching, really. It was nearly unavoidable. When you're racing that close together, it's nearly hard not to touch at some point. And it wasn't like 1 lap. It was like 8 laps in a row that we were racing so close that I think there was 1 or 2 touches. But I think the best thing about it is lately is, Jamie has been in both of our situations, hasn't he? So he gets it. Like, he's like, that was fine. Just don't do it any further, or that sort of stuff. So,
Because he's never crossed the line either.
Yeah,
that's how I got my first race win, because of J-Dub. So I like it. But no, I think it's good having him there as well. And I think even in the pits, between everyone, he's very good with that and going, just let him race, or maybe don't in this scenario because there's someone behind us.
Yeah. Nah, it's cool, man. Like, it's it's got to be a pleasure to be able to do that, you know. Like I was actually had Faulkner on the podcast yesterday, and we were talking about like the road racing side of things, like whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, and he literally was saying, I wonder whether the boys fully send it and you can get to like push, or if you have to just stay within like such a small window. But it sounds like you guys just had like free and clear of the field, feeling good in the race car, and you just fully got to have a dip. Like, is that kind of how it goes in those moments?
Yeah, I feel like it obviously depends on what's happening around you and that, and especially teammate. Like, if it's anyone else, no matter what, you're sort of going to race them super hard. But when you're fighting for a win, it's a Sunday race, you got 8 to 10 seconds on the car behind. Literally, the call was, you're free to race. Like, don't run into each other. Just play smart, have some fun, pretty much. Like, and don't do anything silly. Like, I got calls over the radio say, just, make sure you're not doing anything wrong. And I'm like, I'm not. Like, I'm not like blocking or doing anything silly. You know, as long as you're not doing anything to affect the other car, it's pretty much let you race. But like, we sort of harped on about it. Like, if we do hit, we're going to get in a lot of trouble. You know, like two team cars, they take it real, you know, prideful and serious in Triple A.
How do you reckon they'd do it? Would we get a written warning or?
Yeah, what would be the deal?
Will would be the first. Yeah,
yeah,
no.
yeah. I'm new. I'm the first out.
We'd both just be like replaced for the next round.
Get sent down. That'll
so
be funny. Marty's in.
Broc just sends the press release in. I've already written the release for you, boys. Just send it out. It's good to go.
Oh, that's right.
So, and then at the press conference, you got to kind of like share the podium with Tony Quinn. Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah, that was cool. I sat next to him. It was quite funny. And a reporter asked him what it felt like for him to be on the podium at his track with his car winning. And he just responded, well, isn't that a stupid question? Like, how do you think I feel? You know, like, he's just, and then he sort of went on about, you know, people thinking that it wasn't going to be possible, and he gave the bird to the camera, and, you know, it was on like live TV. Like, it was so cool to see how like proud he was about what actually happened. He probably, you know, at the time we're like, oh yeah, that was a cool race and all that, but it meant so much to him and his team to put on the event. He's the big one for getting supercars back to New Zealand, so it was awesome. He's a great guy to have in the team, that's for sure.
I think also from my point of view, like, he's not around the workshop all the time, you know, he's sort of silent a bit. So to have him at New Zealand and involved in the team and him be so pumped about it was really cool to see that side of it for myself, who's just joined the team in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it must have been cool. And it's cool to see like actually having that freedom. I mean, you know, he's kind of earned the position that he's in, but to be able to like flip the camera off and like even tell the reporter like, that's a stupid question. I mean, honestly, good on him. You know, like sometimes, and I know I'm like in the position of asking those questions. Like, yeah, sometimes you just want to say to people like, bro, do better. Like, come on, of course it feels good. Go deeper. Of course it's good.
That's right.
So you also got to do a couple hot laps in NZ. You had Uncle Tix in there. How was that experience?
Yeah, that was cool. I went and met him just before it. I think he like grabbed my helmet and slapped me on the ass, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be exciting. And man, he's such a nice but funny guy. Like, even when he got in the car, some of the one-liners he was saying, obviously I can't repeat on camera.
Come on, give us
it was so funny. And he was awesome in the car. I mean, the video that come out was great. He loved it. Yeah, it was cool to meet him over there. He's like a A-lister celebrity, like walking through the pits, like he was getting grabbed by everyone. I mean, his content's super funny, but it was cool to have him there for the day.
Man, I couldn't believe the video that come out, eh? And I was like,
so
Red Bull shared this? Like, what?
I know.
Well, I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, like when he got in the car, all the stuff he was saying, he put in the video, but I'm like, I don't know if I can post that. Like, I got all these kids that follow me, like, but no, it was awesome.
That's so good. And like, you got to go there, do some testing, you spent a bit of time there. Would you like to see more NZ on the calendar from your end?
I think 2 would be great. I think any more than that, it's a little bit hard logistically, and I think it might also wear off a little bit over there if you did more than 2. But I reckon it'd be great to go over there, do a race meet, maybe a week off, and then do another one over there as well. But I think, to be honest, like, you know, the tracks are a little bit smaller over there. Even Taupo was a little bit, but the fans are what makes it so big over there. Like, just even New Zealand itself, the track to town, we're all doing burnouts. We're doing 150. I think, like, I didn't even buckle in at the start to do the track to town because I had a problem with my car. And then I'm on the highway, I'm doing 150. I'm like, I better buckle up here. Like, this is pretty fast. So, but yeah, James Courtney was in front of me doing burnouts, and the cops are behind me videoing it in their car, just saying, like, thinking how cool this is. So, yeah, I left, like, onto the highway from the side road and just like a big slide out onto the highway with the cop car behind me, and they thought it was great. So I'm like, all of that part of it and that side of New Zealand and the fans was such a cool part of going back over there, and I think that's ultimately why we'd go for 2 rounds.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, there's a way logistically where you kind of just make sure you get all the juice out of the squeeze, you know, to go and do 2 rounds back to back, maybe time it with a week off. And I think it'd just open up cool media, cool projects that you guys could do, and just a bit of that, I guess, like that kind of cultural experience that you're sort of chasing, you know, like it's cool part of being a driver and being an athlete is you get to have these kind of experiences and the team comes along with you. So be rad.
Yeah, I think New Zealand government threw a fair bit behind it, didn't they? Like, they were offering us a lot of, like, cool stuff and experiences over there if we wanted to stick around and all of that sort of stuff. So it was cool seeing that side and seeing them want us over there as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So then I guess you guys moved on to Perth, which probably wasn't the best weekend, or like bit of mixed results. What makes Perth the challenge?
Yeah.
Some other guys are fast.
Yeah.
It's funny, I've never been one to know how to debrief a weekend. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to know where you went wrong sometimes, or that sort of stuff. Like, I felt like I was fast at Perth, but I just wasn't as fast as Chaz or Cam. So I was probably, you know, third all weekend, but you just didn't have that little bit more to get them. But when you're talking about half a tenth, you're like, where do I find half a tenth? Like, as in, where do you go home and debrief and go, yeah, that was the reason I didn't win on that weekend. So I don't get too caught up on it either. And going away from Perth, I nearly had that after the weekend. Like, me and Andrew have gone through some things. He's like, oh, why do you think we didn't qualify on pole? And I'm like, I honestly just think because Broc did a better lap on that lap. Like, it's hard to debrief and go, why didn't I get pole there when it's such tight increments? Like, I think when you go away and you're half a second off, you need to do a big debrief and try and find it, and you can find that. But with what we're talking about, it's so hard. Yeah.
I think, like, it was probably I was a bit behind Will on that weekend, but I think we've sort of said all year, like, we're trying to get consistency over 12 rounds. And we know on our day we're going to get beaten. Like, we've said that from the start of the year. Obviously, I think we won the first 5 or 6 races, but we went, look, it's not going to be like this all year. Like, there's going to be days where other guys are quicker. And maybe sometimes we're on the reserve side with some of our changes. You know, we probably don't do the most drastic things. Like, there's going to be days where guys are going to beat us and be quicker. But hopefully over the year, you know, we can rock up at each round and be in the mix, be in the 5, keep getting podiums and just sort of be in that hunt. And we sort of showed that at Darwin on the weekend. Like, we had a decent Perth. You know, Will got a couple of podiums. I was a little bit further behind. But then to come out and win by 18 seconds over the next sort of guys, I think our consistency is the one that everyone's talking about at the moment. Like, is Triple Eight gonna have a bad round? So for us, you sort of just you got to learn from those weekends still. Like, you got to figure out what you could have done better. But yeah, I think the way the game is, you know, there is going to be weekends where some guys are just better, you know, whether that's us or the car or whatever it is.
Yeah, and you don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole, right? You know, like, it's one round. And to be fair, like you said, Chaz, what a driver. You know, what an amazing driver. You know, it's such stiff competition in terms of, you know, the actual talent that is in that field. And I mean, yeah, you guys are consistently there. And sometimes bad weekend, you just don't need to like over deconstruct those weekends.
Yeah, I feel like I still do. Like, you know, I feel like when it's another car, it's, you know, you can probably compare things, but like when it's your teammate that, you know, Will pulled a fair bit of a jump on me in points that weekend. For me, I'm like, you can't really have another weekend like that where I'm qualifying outside the 10 and trying to race forward. So, yeah, for me, it was more like, what do I need to do better to make sure I'm not in that position come next round? So, that's what sort of meant so much at Darwin, to have a round where we sort of struggled a bit all weekend and not really in the mix and not competitive compared to Will, to then rock up and get a couple of wins. So, I probably do look too much into those weekends nearly, but, I just try and figure out what I could have done better. The team sort of debriefs, we debrief together, but you just sort of, where can you improve yourself?
Yeah. And then, Will, you got to actually do a bit of extracurricular that weekend too. A couple old schoolmates.
Oh, over in Perth. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
Don't know about extracurricular. I couldn't kick a footy to save his life.
Yeah, I was pretty terrible. I used to play footy as well. And Broc flogged me with the kicking. I was pretty embarrassed with myself. But no, it was cool. A couple of my mates I went to school with are now playing for the Western Force over there. So, we went and caught up with them, kicked a footy, and did all that. So it was pretty cool to see those guys, and also guys who went to school with that are also professional in a sport now. So that was a cool part, and to have them out to the track and show them what I do now.
Yeah. Did you guys keep in touch a bunch after school? Like, because obviously like different sports, but I think it's kind of cool to have mates that you can relate to in that way.
Yeah. One of them, Angus Wagner, he was like my best mate from grade 1 to 8 or something like that until he went to Brisbane. Like, we probably spent every weekend together. And, Harry Hoopert, who's also playing over there, spent heaps of time with him during high school, and Hamish. So definitely kept in touch and kept up to date with what they're doing. So, that was a cool side of it. That's for sure.
That's awesome, eh? And so they're saying that there might be a street race in Perth next in 26. Is that right?
Yeah, that's the talk at the moment. I think the government's sort of behind it. So
what are the thoughts about that?
Yeah, they said the park that they're looking at. So I tried looking up on Google Maps to see what track I could figure out to build, but I don't know. Like, I like going to Barbagallo, but I get doing a street race in Perth, next to the big stadium there. Like, I get it. It'd probably be good for the government. They'd get a big turnout there. I understand that side of it. But you just, hopefully the track's a good track. You just, obviously, I think we all like street racing. I think it's awesome. But you want to have a good, fun track that you can race on and good for fans to watch, sort of thing.
We're definitely two different people, aren't we? You're like, see Perth is doing a street race, and you look it up and see the park and everything. I'm like, Perth street race, sounds good.
Close to the pub.
Just keep having a look, and I'm like, that'll be cool when that comes out. I love how you look it up and that.
Yeah, I like trying to figure out what I could do.
You're already doing laps there, are you? Over there running it, checking it out.
Week, yeah.
Yeah. He's fully got it.
I'm like, how do I sell this used car in front of me?
Oh, that's so good.
I love doing that. I love just going to random destinations and like making a racetrack.
Really? Right, okay.
Just, Supercars might hire me one day as a track designer.
Yeah, you might be on. Scapes out, you're in.
Where's your best track you've built?
There was once talk of, I think I designed one at Wollongong once, I reckon.
Right.
I thought that'd be a cool place for supercars to go.
Dude, Wollongong is beautiful.
Yeah, like just south of Sydney, I'm right, aren't I? I'm like, we probably need to go to some new places. I don't know if I saw a story on it, but yeah, I like drew one up.
I think this should be like a new thing.
I got a design on my phone of it, like just literally just on a mat, and I literally just sort of draw where I reckon a track could go. So if we end up in Wollongong, I'm happy to share my.
Maybe we need you to share some of them. So we'll have to give you a town before like a race meet, and you have to show us your best track.
It's quite
you can
hard.
design.
Like when I looked at Perth at the park, right? I'm like trying to envisage where we're gonna go, and I'm like, you get to a roundabout. I'm like, do they like get rid of?
You could do Long Beach. You could do just
around it. Yeah. It's quite hard. Obviously, I don't know what goes into it, but I love doing it. I think it's cool.
It's cool.
I think it's cool too. I wanna drive one of your track. I wonder.
I'm gonna send you
cool,
my
like,
Wollongong
content
track. I've got it on
That'd
my
be a
phone
cool
somewhere.
content project, man.
Yeah.
To go to a place and
track.
like draw up a track and then just go to the government. Oh, I want to shut down these roads. I need a couple of hours. We've got to,
Yeah.
like
I'm not
when you
that
get a
in
fresh.
with the government, Jace, but
No, we can make it. Hey, you've got people, bro. You're the guy. You're the guy.
One day.
But
one day.
that'd be a great content piece. Just see what we can come up with.
Yeah, well, I've got plenty in the bank, mate.
I love that. But I mean, I guess what is Barbagallo like as a racetrack? Like, is it a racetrack you'd be sad to see go, or do you think?
I think so. I think that it's actually produced pretty good racing over the years, and
It's
got
pretty
some
iconic.
pretty good history.
Yeah.
Like that's the biggest thing is, it was like sad to see see Pukekohe go, or however you say it, because how do you say it? Is that right?
Pukekohe.
Yeah, right.
My mum says Pukakoko.
just because of the history there, I think, and I think that's the same with Barbagallo. Is every time before we roll up to them to the race, they start putting old clips like Lounsey doing the 3-stop and driving through. Sort of hypes you up for the weekend, you know what I mean? So so I think that it'd be sad to see it go. I really thought when they were talking about we might run 2 events over there, but obviously I don't know if that'll happen.
Yeah, I was going to say that's always the option too, like just keep it on there and add the street circuit. I feel like Perth's one of those cities just because it's so isolated. They kind of are they're the city that does get behind events.
Yeah. I think it'd be great, like, switching it up. I think we've seen that.
Yeah.
Just doing different stuff is cool. Like when we went back to NZ, obviously it was awesome. Even if you did 3 years in the city, 3 years at Barbagallo, just play around. I don't think be scared to foul. That's why obviously we're going to Wollongong next year with my track design. We're just mixing it up.
Yeah. So what actually makes a good street circuit then? Like in terms, if you get the ear of people that are designing these tracks, then what produces good racing from your perspective?
I think the biggest thing is not making it too flowy. Like Tailem Bend was made, like I know it's not a bad track to drive, but it was made for sort of LMP and that sort of stuff, and it's quite hard to pass. Like my biggest thing is big braking areas. Make it that you have to nearly stop at a braking area and that you can pass, because there's nothing worse. Like even Darwin, it makes some good racing and you can pass, but it's hard because end of the straight, it's into quite a fast flowing corner really as well. You don't see many people pass down the inside. Yeah. So I think like places like Adelaide where you can pass well and stuff like that is always really good. Like Newcastle was a cool track, but hard to pass at, I would say. So it didn't produce the best racing sometimes.
Yeah. I think staircases are good.
Yeah,
Adelaide and Newcastle had that. That's good opportunities. And then, as Will said, you just need your 90-degree corners or hairpins like that that you can pass on. It's hard. Street tracks racing is always hard, and any pass you do at a street track's a big move. So obviously width is a good thing, but
I really think Townsville's like the perfect street track.
Yeah, Townsville's a great street track.
You can pass, there's like 4 passing opportunities throughout the lap. So if you like undercut with better tyres, you can actually drive through people or anything like that, or even, undercut, anything like that. You can pass there, where some other tracks you get caught, like
sort
Darwin,
of a mix though, isn't
and
it?
you can't really pass. So yeah, it's interesting, but I reckon on your designs of your tracks, Brock, you need to make sure there's...
Do you want me to break some... So when I looked at it, like, it looks... like trying to envision where they're going to go, it's like, it looks quite like open.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know. They've got a big park. I'm not sure if they'd just build a little bit through there or something like that, but they need to give us some details so we can figure out what we got.
They need to just call you, bro. Yeah, You've got it figured out. Like they need to just pick up the phone.
I've already got like 10 tracks designed.
Oh, it's so good.
I'll rock up being there for a week testing.
That'd be pretty cool if they actually brought like, a bunch of supercar drivers in and said, how do you reckon we design this track, and let us sort of design it. I always find that a bit of a weird thing that I don't know who designs them, but some sort of random guy designs it, then we go race there.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be great if we were more involved with some things. They are doing an effort to get us. They're a bit more of an effort to get us involved in that at the moment, but it'd be cool just to have chats with them about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, is from your perspective, your incentive as drivers, you want to make the best racetrack because you want to be able to pass. Like, you guys are the ones that really need the track to drive well. So, I mean, to me, it just makes complete sense. It's not like you guys are incentivized to do anything other than make a really great racetrack.
Yeah, we're not going to make it bad to race on. But in saying that, like,
there's
obviously so much of a challenge that comes with that. Like, obviously, we'd have no idea about how to do a street race track, but obviously, yeah, it'd be cool to, see what roads they want to use and see what involvement we can have.
Talking about racing, to that, Cam Waters rang me this week and reckons, what do you reckon about the 5, 10, 15 second penalties, like dropping them? What do you think about the penalty system and that side of it with the racing? Because obviously there's something all the drivers are talking about to try and make better racing and making it that you can touch more. So
yeah, but like, sort of it annoys me because people sort of blew up about me on the weekend. Like, everyone, I get it, and I still think we should have penalties, like, but maybe a little bit more lenient. But everyone sort of says we should race harder, and then we race harder,
and then they get the
shits. and then we, if we don't get a penalty or we do get a penalty, it should be more. So it's a hard one. I still think we should have it.
It is quite funny. You people are like, oh, watch NASCAR because they race hard. Then you door someone accidentally and race hard, and everyone's like, what was that? That's so bad. Like, and this, and you're like,
he's a hazard.
Yeah, you're like, get him off, give him a 15-second penalty, and you're like, you can't keep people happy. But I think that maybe, like, people like passes like yours shouldn't even be questioned. I think it should be good hard racing, and then if you just absolutely get rid of someone, well, that's a penalty.
I think you should. Yeah, I agree. I think if you rub someone up and maybe push them off track, I think let that go and let them, run you wide on an exit. I think like that. But I think the hitting you up the back and running you off, and if someone spins or something like that, I do think it should be a penalty. Like, I don't think you should be able to just fully turf someone and get away with it. Like, I know you'll get them back, but it's just a cost.
Do you think it is a cost? Like, I think it'd make the championship harder because I don't believe you'd be as consistent as what we've been because people would be running into you. You know what I mean? But I think, like, if you raced like an idiot one round, like, say somebody goes out there, runs into 5 of us, well, all 5 of us are going to want to get him back next round. So it'll be hard for him to compete well. So it's quite surprising when I went over to NASCAR, they have this system, and I accidentally doored Bubba Wallace just a little bit. In Australia, wouldn't be a penalty, and he was really unhappy about it because it seems like they actually raced really respectful over there until the last 4 laps. So it's interesting that their system has more brought the drivers into being more respectful to each other rather than just thinking about the rule book the whole time. So I don't know, but I was just thinking about it, and Cam was asking me about it this week, and I'm like, I'm all for hard racing, so I'm like either way, and we all are, but it's like, does it go too far one way or too far the other way?
I don't think all of our drivers would be the one just to get rid of someone though.
No.
Like, I still think it'd be respectful, but I still think my perspective would be still having the rules so that you still just can't turf someone. Like, you still need... It's a hard one, isn't it? Like,
it is a hard one. I always love it when someone uses, I'm going to get rid of you. It's like, man, I've had a crash before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, someone's like, I'm going to get rid of you. It's like, come on, mate. Let's not use that one.
So you don't have to name names, but, like, are there just shitheads out there that you guys have to deal with every weekend?
Oh, no, we'll name names. Cam, Chaz.
All around.
Chaz, definitely. No, but the funny thing is there's a fair few guys that race hard, but you have respect for them for that reason. Like, when Cam, Chaz, Brody, those guys come up on you, that it's going to be a fairly big battle. And you have to think about it a lot because they're very switched on drivers, aren't they? Like, they're thinking about the whole thing.
That's the thing that I love so much about watching Shane. Like, I was literally just a fan watching him. Like, his racing brain worked to, like, make moves and stuff like that. And some people thought his racing was dirty, but he played it to as much as he could. He was perfect at thinking about what he was going to do and all that stuff. And so racing those guys in the top 5 is so enjoyable. Everyone goes on about when you qualify outside the 10 or the 15, that's when the chaos happens, and you get up front and it's just so much fun because you're all respectful, but racing super hard because you're going for a win. So all the guys, you have, like, our race. You just have so much fun doing it because you trust each other and you sort of know what each other's going to do.
Yeah, and you kind of just, there's that expectation of, like, I know exactly what I'm going to get with this guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So then I guess we move on to Darwin. Brock, you had an okay weekend, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I didn't get the Triple Crown. I'm bummed about that. But no, it was a great weekend. Another good one for the team. Another 1-2 on Sunday and a 1-3 on Saturday. So I think it was great to get back up there. And for us, obviously didn't have the best Perth, but to jump back and 2 wins and a pole in the shootout was pretty awesome. So pumped, like first back-to-back wins in my career. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Is that like almost a monkey off the back in a way to get the double wins like that or back-to-back wins?
I suppose I don't really think about it like getting the monkey off the back, but it's just like getting the, not that we lost confidence, but it's just good to get a win again. It's been, I think we won at the Grand Prix and then obviously had the battle for the win at New Zealand, but then been off the pace in Perth. So just to have a consistent weekend, and that's what makes it so tough in supercars. You can have a great day on Saturday, and we nearly got bumped out in qualifying Sunday morning. Like, you just completely reset and go for a new day. Frosty got second, got held up, qualified 18th. Like, it's so easy to have a bad day. So I think it shows that you got a real good package when you can do it again the next day, and do another shootout and then another race. So we had fast cars. I mean, we were pretty quick on that Sunday race.
How was your weekend at Darwin from your perspective, Will?
It's a hard one. Everyone, like, you come back home and they're like, oh, that was an awesome weekend. You got 2 podiums. I'm like, yeah, but my teammate flogged me. So it's a hard one. Like,
you know how I feel.
It sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds great.
Everyone's
Everyone's like,
bro, it sucks.
Yeah. So it was like, it's quite funny when everyone does say that. But it was a great weekend, like for me as well. To get 2 podiums and keep that sort of podium streak going that we've been on. But I just felt like Broc did a better job in qualifying at the end of the day on the weekend. Like, had a fast car in that last race, and like, it's hard to pass around there. So I couldn't. Broc was super fast in the last race as well, but just really good, mega job on that last qualifying, the shootout. And you're talking once again. I think I was a 10th off you. That was I lost that at turn 1, and then it was the same for the rest of the lap. So when you're all so tight, you've got to get everything perfect in that shootout and qualifying to be up there. So overall, still a good weekend, and the team's pumped and that. But I've probably got to make sure next time do a little bit better job in quali.
Yeah. I always enjoy Darwin with like the Indigenous livery that you guys do. Like, I mean, I when you're away from home as much as I am, and I don't know. I feel like stoked to see some of that. Like that is like our version of I guess our cultural significance. So from your perspective, is it fun to just like see that livery and experience what Darwin has to offer in that? It's a pretty unique round.
Yeah, I think it's unique as well. I think the biggest thing for me on the weekend was it was the Clontarf Academy, wasn't it? That they brought the kids up there from where was
Gunnedah.
it? From Gunnedah, that's right. And they brought about 15
Yeah.
of them up there, and it was cool just to see them having such a good time.
Yeah.
That was what made it for me that weekend. But I'm all for that, and also other rounds I think they should bring back is like retro round. Like, I just can't understand. Like, I'm a big one. Like, I want our team to do retro round, even though there's not retro round. You know what I mean? I just think the press for a team, whatever it costs you to make a couple of shirts and to change your livery if your sponsors will allow you, you're going to get back 5 times over on that weekend, because the cameras are just going to be on how cool it is that you've done a retro round. Yeah. So I think that even though supercars aren't enforcing it, I think every team for the small cost should do retro round at Sandown. And then if we can create another round, because it just makes something else, like another part of the weekend, special, and it gives another talking point to the weekend, and also just the content you get out of showing the throwback to the old car that you've designed yours off. So I think supercars could do a better job just with that side of it, with making a few rounds like Indigenous round, retro round, and then not sure what we can do from there.
What would be your peak 888 car to go? What livery would you want to bring back for one weekend if you could bring back a retro livery?
Oh,
I feel like the old voter days.
That's-
we
I
got
was
the
thinking that, the
Vodafone
one
days,
too.
I was
you
thinking
know,
that.
like-
I was thinking that as well.
Imagine
Like,
running
if
a-
we're at Orange, you just can't go past that with T8. Like,
yeah.
obviously with sponsors, it'd be quite hard with Red Bull and Ampol. But I feel like
Just
even just
slap
going back
a
to one of
big
the
old
first.
Red Bull. Just get the balls on it
Yeah.
where it needs to go, and let's go.
It'd be hard for us because I suppose Red Bull has been around for 10, 11 years with T8. So you could do something from back then. But I think in 2019 they just did like an old school retro livery. But I think the cool thing for us is like obviously, and a lot of the teams have it now. With your sponsors, obviously you got corporate colors and everything that you got to sort of abide by. So every year the liveries they're tweaked. Like we try and make changes, but I suppose it's easy to say. But from I suppose the commercial department's team, it's very hard to change just because of all of our sponsors. So
Yeah.
when we do go to Darwin and even when we did have the retro round, to see the sponsors get behind it and let us have a different car for the weekend. Like we rock up to Darwin and go, man, our car looks awesome because it's, something different to what we're used to. So I think it's great because the big corporate companies sort of get behind it and we can do something different for a weekend.
Yeah. And was the whole Northern Territory Darwin thing the reason why you spent the weekend in Crocs? Is that the only round you can get away from it? Away with it?
Ains was giving me rubbish about it. And heaps of people were hating on the Crocs. I don't get it. But I wear my Crocs all the time.
I'm with you, bro.
I wear my Crocs all the time. But I just broke them out in Darwin. Why not?
But if you're gonna do it, like Darwin's the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we have our ice bath outside the truck, and every round I'm like, why did I forget my Crocs? Like, I just got to walk back and forth. And then, remembered it in Darwin.
Oh, that's so good. And old Cooper did pretty good, for a rookie at Darwin.
Yeah, I think it was pretty cool to see that. I think qualifying on Saturday was a little bit tough, and the race for him, he got turned around. But the bounce back on Sunday was mega for him. I think he actually got confidence from Saturday, probably from his race pace, getting fastest lap in that race. And I think Sunday he probably thought, I can run up there. So it was disappointing to see his and Andre's car mating, but and didn't quite get to finish that race real well.
Didn't quite
but
pop out a baby.
yeah, that's right. A little super cheap cars come out. It's quite funny, but poor bugger. But I think he showed a lot of people. The biggest thing in our category, I would say, is qualifying. If you don't qualify up there, you're not going to race up there. So I think he showed people that he's probably got the talent to be able to have the pace, and then from there, it's just about honing your skills into being consistent and just experience, really.
Yeah, I mean, he out-qualified me on Sunday morning. Like,
Yeah.
It was, I think, you were first
I was
in
first,
qual?
yeah.
First, fifth, and eighth. I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, I'm the third T8 car. Like, what am I doing?
You're lucky you did
I
the
was getting,
shootout. That's
yeah,
right.
if I didn't make the
They were
shootout, I would have
switching you
been
out.
sacked. Like, pressure was on.
Imagine. Do you think he's probably like the next prospect to kind of get a spot in main game? You think like he's probably one of the guys people are looking at?
Yeah, I think the main one's Kai Allen at the moment. He won the championship last year in Super 2, and him and Cooper have been battling it out this year. They're teammates. But I'd say between the two of them, they're the guys. Kai's been tied up with DJR, so I suppose everyone's sort of not sure what's going to happen with him next year. He's co-driving with them. He's obviously one that I think I'd really like to see in there because I've known him for a while and he's done a great job. But Cooper showed on the weekend why he should be in there.
Yeah.
He I don't think everyone should underestimate what a good job he did do to rock up, do a wild card and be, in the 10, qualifying the 5. Like, that's awesome. So I'm excited to see what they all do at Enduro time. But, I'm keen to get some more young blokes in
I
there.
think Cooper and Kai, and then me and Ains were also talking this morning, Zach Bates. They're probably the
he's
three.
doing a great job,
He's doing an awesome job and just a good young kid. So I think they're probably the three that I think becomes a stage of your career in Super 2. And I think I remember somebody saying to me, it's not if you'll get in, it's when you'll get in to main game. And I think those three guys are at that stage. Like, it's not, do they have the talent? Are they ever going to make it? It's when someone loses their drive or moves on that those guys will step up. So, I think all three of them have the talent. It's just how long it takes for someone to move on and if they can keep running Super 2 and afford it till then.
I just think it's cool I like what, T8, Erebus and Groves have done to pull on the young kids and like it's worked out for all three. I mean, they had you and Brody in the same year, myself, and then for Matt Payne, like it's working for all those teams. And I think, it's probably not just going to be a 1 year, you're in, you're out. You just need to trust it for a couple of years. And I think what's shown over the past 3, 4, 5 years in the sport is young kids are coming through and they're really quick.
Might be a bit tough with poor old Erebus, with what's going on there, because they've brought through 3 young guys in the last, sort of 4 years. So they've done a good job of that. Like for some young guys, that was always, a big opportunity. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens with them for getting new young guys. Because, like, you see a lot of people, like, even Team 18, they haven't really got young guys ever. And, like, there's a few teams that really just love, like, you can get an experienced guy and he, is known in the sport with sponsors and they sort of take him. So, those teams like, even Triple Eight did with you and Groves, like, sometimes not easy to get them to take a punt on a young guy, which hopefully starts happening again soon. Yeah,
I think commercially it's quite hard. Like, I know with me, they had to have a lot of chats with the big sponsors being like, I think he'll be good. Like you got to convince people who are spending lots and lots of money that, they're going to be able to do a good job. But I think that's what the cool thing about it is when they do it and it does pay off that, they've done a great job. Like kudos to everyone that's giving a young kid a crack.
Yeah, and I mean, like Will's right. Both of you are in the same kind of boat here, but like for you to go into main game into like the best seat as an 18-year-old kid, I mean, like barely able to drink the champagne, and you're up with the big boys. It's like that really was pretty unprecedented. So it's almost like you boys are kind of setting that new standard. And I mean, you're seeing the same thing with Formula One, like you got guys that are just so well prepared in the feeder categories, like they're doing their job, so it might just be that you guys were the first generation that kind of changed the sport to where people are seeing like these young guys are coming out of the ranks super professional and super ready to go.
Yeah, I think it just all stems down to sort of where karting's at these days. And I mean, kids are running national championships at 7 years old, doing a 5-round series from 7 to 9. I mean, we were a bit older than that when we sort of started, but we were still doing the nationals. But man, you meet these like 12-year-old kids these days, and they're like 18-year-old men or 20-year-old guys that have been around. They've got so much experience. They know exactly what they're talking about with their go-kart and that, and they're just. I think you just gain so much experience running at such a high level in like national karting, and then getting into cars at 15. We both sort of got in pretty young, and you just gain so much experience. So everyone's like, oh, you're getting in at 20, you're so young, but you've been doing it for like 12, 13 years for some of these kids. And obviously it's different, but they're gaining a lot of experience, racing all over the world against some of the best guys. Like, a lot of the karting kids now from Australia and Europe running karts with guys that will be racing in Formula One in 10, 15 years. So it's cool to see. So I think everyone's going to be at a pretty high level coming out of karts in the next 5 years.
Oh, man, 100%. And so just staying on Darwin, like you guys put, what was it, 17 seconds into the field on Sunday? Like what do you put it down to? Like it's pretty wild.
This guy here, like, man,
up your clacker.
Yeah, if we weren't like racing each other, it would have maybe like.
I felt like I was doing when I came out of the pits that last one. Like I felt like I was doing qualifying laps every lap. I'm like, I'm gonna get to his rear bar, and then I was like, oh, I can't run into him when I get there. What am I gonna do? Because it's a team car. But no, it was. I felt like I could even see you. You were on the limit the whole time, and I was as well. And I think just pushing each other so hard in that race. I really think that if I was, probably sitting back like, a second ahead of Brody, you're not going to gap it out to 17 seconds. You would have been like, oh, I've got good pace, I'll save my tyres. But I think we were just, I felt like every lap, not that there was a chance I was going to run off at 1, but I was like, I've got to save this thing. Like I'm on the limit. I feel like I'm doing a qualifying lap and I'm trying to get there. And that was the same entering, exiting the pits. Like I was like, everything just counts to this moment. Everything was on the limit. So yeah, it's interesting. I'm sure every other driver out there, is trying to do the same to what they have. But I felt like in that race, we really pushed each other to try and then by the end of the race, I knew I wasn't going to pass Broc, but I'm like, I'm not going to let him win this race by like 5 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
so I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like still pushing. I'm like, oh yeah, 1 second. I'm all right with that. So it was quite funny, but yeah, like we're definitely pushing each other when you're racing in that sort of close environment.
Yeah, I think obviously we had good cars underneath us, but
Yeah.
pushing each other makes, such a big difference. And it reminded me so much of Shane and Jada. Was it 21? I think in Townsville, the first of the double headers.
Yep.
And it was the 250k races.
Yeah.
And I think they won by 40 seconds or something. Like, it was just crazy because they were racing each other the whole race. And I remember them both saying after that, I was in Super 2 watching at the time, and they're like, man, like, we did not need to go that fast. Like, we could have gone so much slower and won, but because we were racing each other, we were just doing quali laps for the whole race. And literally being in that race was like the exact same thing. You're just racing each other so hard, like at such a high level. As Will said, you're just doing qualifying laps for like 20 laps. Like, I remember on the last lap seeing my lap times, and I'm like, I didn't even go that fast yesterday. Like, I didn't even do one lap at that, and this was at the end of like 50 laps.
Yeah.
You're still doing that.
It's actually
time.
like quite mentally straining, that race, because you think like when you do a long race or when you're, in a battle with someone, but I felt like that race was so hard that you're on the limit, so close to the limit every lap, like into the hairpin. We both were like, you have to hook the curb on the inside. And if you broke a little bit too late and missed that curb, you'd lose 2/10. And that was like a big loss for us to the guy. So I remember one lap, like I broke in there, missed the curb, and I actually got angry at myself on the way out. I'm like, what have you done? You've just spent 3 laps to catch that time. And I was actually annoyed at myself, where generally like, I'm like, oh yeah, missed that curb. Like, I'll get it next lap. But I was actually and I was a little bit frustrated during that race, just trying to work out how I can get closer to Broc, because I'm like, got to get him here, but I couldn't. It's so tight. But yeah, you made the littlest mistake, and it meant so much in that race because of how tight it was.
Yeah. If you guys could have comms to each other in those moments,
I wouldn't want it.
Oh, it's because I talk
what
so
would
much.
you be saying?
Yeah,
I already talk so much. I'd just talk the whole time and annoy Broc, I reckon. I remember.
I'd be like, you stay behind, I'll blow your plane.
Yeah. I just remember, like, it's funny that drivers think the exact same, because we both saw the crash that happened on lap 1. And I'm like, I got to get close to him to lunge him in the last corner. And I said that to him, and he's like, yeah, I just thought, I hope the safety car comes out before the last corner, because we're both thinking the same thing. It's cool.
Yeah, it'd be wild to just see what like, you're all right, boys. You win in the race. No one's coming. It's just you two. Like, talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Mine would be like
I would not want that.
I'd be like, end of the straight, I'm going to pass you. I'm about to lunge you, trying to get in his head.
I'm locking up, I'm going to hit you. No, I mean, even with your engineer, like, you obviously like talk about what you want to hear, and it's in those moments that you need the right information. Like, okay, the gap's this. My engineer was telling me where Will was faster and stuff like that. So you certainly don't want a distraction in those, like, in the last 10 laps. You just want 5 to go. The gap's this. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to pass you. I'm going to hum up the inside. Like,
I felt like, you'd definitely say some funny stuff in that scenario to try to put them off. But yeah, I had bad radio comms in that race, so I didn't even know I got fastest lap. So I was quite like annoyed during that race. I'm like, oh, far out and that. But like, I don't know if me and Andrew were talking over each other, but my radio wasn't good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until like 2 hours later, he's like, yeah, you got the fastest lap and the points. And I'm like, I didn't know that. I was like pushing every lap trying to get this fastest lap. Didn't even know I had it. But I think he said he told me like 4 times. But unless I was so in the moment, I just didn't register it. But I don't remember hearing it.
Yeah. Speaking of fast laps, what's your thought on Brody's little shootout lap impediment?
Nah, I thought it was one of those. It was one of those things. It was a tough one because people once again online are going to bag either thing. But I think Dado did the right thing for that. You're not meant to do that in the shootout. But it was funny. I could see it. I was warming up, and I'm like, I could see him coming. I'm like, he's going to come and do something funny, because it was just like, we're mates. It's the old rivalry between us and Erebus. So I'm like, I sort of expected it, and I actually had a little giggle to myself. I was like, yeah, good on him. And then Dado came in and said, we've put in this report, we've got to go to the stewards. And I completely understand from Dado's side why you do that. Like, you're not meant to be able to do that in a shootout. But I went into the stewards, and I probably could have said different, like they're like, did he hinder your warm-up lap or anything like that? And I said no, because at the end of the day, Broc and Brody out-qualified me because they were faster than me on that lap, not because I got, Brody flashed me in the mirrors or something like that. They just did a better job. So I didn't think it was deserving of Brody to get a penalty at all. So I said that in the stewards, but I think that you don't want that happening in the future, because I know what I'd do up there. I'd go flat out on my in lap and be, flashing the lights at everyone and trying to hinder their warm-up lap. So I think it was a great thing, cool for TV. I enjoyed it, but I think in the future they'll bring in a rule that stops that from happening. But yeah, it was cool. I was just pretty excited to have Brody up there and see what he was like to race, because I think he'll be a lot of fun to race this year. I think they'll get their mojo back a bit now. And I was pretty keen for the battle and just see what he tries doing. He's a pretty smart racer, and you've got to have your wits about you when he's around you.
And some stressful times while you thought you had a 10K fine from the presser.
Yeah, bloody Ainsley. I was like, I accidentally swore. Like, I didn't even sort of register at the start. Like, I was like, oh yeah. And then I was like, and then Broc's like, it's on live TV, and I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. I was like, I'm gonna get like a 10K fine. Oh, I thought 5, and then when Ainsley said 10, she got me for a second, but I'm like, 10's a lot of money. Surely they couldn't get me for 10. And then I was like, nah, 5. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it was an accident. Like, I don't try to swear on TV at all in any way, but I also think it's I like it when people show a little bit of emotion, and I think that sport's getting a bit too mundane in that sort of area. So I don't think it's a bad thing, but I also think that's probably why they didn't penalise me. They're probably wanting it to get a little bit more.
I always think it's hard. It's like the NASCAR thing. I think it's so hard to penalise someone when they use it as marketing. NASCAR just promoted this punch up for like a week, and then he got a 75K fine. I'd invoice them for 75K marketing.
That's right.
Dude,
for sure.
And it's the same with. I think it was going to be hard to penalise Brody because they'd put it all up on socials.
Yeah,
and
that's
everyone
right.
loved it. Everyone's like, how cool is this? So it's very hard to go against what makes good entertainment.
Yeah, that's right. Once I saw that they posted it on their Instagram, I'm like, I'm out of it. Like, how good's this? I'm not going to get a fine. But no, I won't. I don't want to try to. There's obviously kids watching and that sort of stuff. But I think all that stuff, like you say, that the content they've used, like Brody and everything, and even people running into each other a little bit, it creates good content, and that's what we need in our sport. That's what we run off.
Yeah, and I personally think, if anyone listens to the podcast, they know my stance on swearing. So it's not a huge thing I'm stressing on. But it's like, if it's genuine, you know what I mean? Like, when you're in the moment and that's like genuinely how you weren't putting it on, you're not going there, like, you're not trying to be that guy. And like, I say that to people as well. I'm like, man, I grew up in Cairns, and my dad said that probably 14 times before I got out of bed in the morning. Like, it just, sorry, is what it is, And I think, it's just like, it's where we come from. It's like, it is what it is. Also, I'm my own boss, and I kind of don't really have the repercussions. Like, they're kind of on me. But I think when it's genuine and in the moment, the way that you were doing it, like, it's how you feel,
Yeah.
And like you said, they use it for marketing. People loved it. Like, and the demographic of supercars is blue collar, hardworking Australian men and women, and they say fuck. So
yeah, I like that. When I was like, oh, am I going to get in trouble for that? But then I'm like, actually, my boss was sitting next to me. He didn't say anything to me, and he didn't say anything after. So I'm like, I shouldn't get in trouble. But no, like you say, as long as you're not just using it all the time and that sort of stuff. It was in the heat of the moment. But it was interesting. I think it was good.
And Brody's a mate.
Yeah. No, I like. Everyone knows that me and Brody are really good mates, and I don't know, I'm one of those people. I want to see everyone do well as well. Like Broc after Perth, you probably wanted to do better, and I think that's great that he won in Darwin. Like I always want to see him, Brody getting third in that race. It's always good to see. So it's good to see people have the bounce backs and that sort of stuff.
And how was the Sunday night celebrations after a weekend like that?
It's good.
Yeah.
Not Michael Jackson over here.
Yeah. Let's not show them. Yeah. I stopped drinking at Sunday nights for a reason. I might go back to it, but had a pretty good time with the karaoke with the team. We went to a karaoke bar. I can't dance, but when I have a few drinks, I think I can. So had a great time. But
you can, mate. You can. It was funny last year. So when I
Paint
won
the
this.
picture. You tell the real story, Brock.
Yeah, well, they used to call me Mr. Sunday, right? Because I used to win on Sundays. And then Will's engineer, who was Shane's engineer, I used to call him Mr. Sunday Night because he knew how to party. But now Will's taken the throne, and now he's Mr. Sunday Night, I reckon. But no, Will's got some good moves.
Win.
He's got.
At least I got one win for the weekend.
I don't reckon I've laughed so hard in a long time.
Yeah,
He carved it up.
I did a pretty good. If you've ever seen the WAP dance, I did a pretty good impression of that. So we'll let that.
I love that.
Oh, no.
Wait, that should be the DJ name, Mr. Sunday and Mr. Sunday Night.
That's right. But no more for me.
Oh, that's awesome. So, bit of a stint in the US, mate, on the old NASCAR. How was that? I was frothing for you. That's so cool.
It was cool. Like, my biggest thing is I didn't think Australian drivers, supercar drivers, would ever get that opportunity until Shane went over there. So it was sort of like a pinch me moment when even I got the opportunity. Like, I had to find some funding with Pete Adderton from Mobile X and Earl and a few of my guys. But then when I got over there and I'm like, I'm racing NASCAR. This is really cool. And for me, it's not about trying to leave and go over there, but it's like trying to experience new things and see how I fare up against the best in the world, like with NASCAR. So you go over there with such uncertainty, like how good are these guys? Are they going to absolutely flog me? What's the go? So to roll out and, I did all the simulator stuff. I was in the workshop heaps. We did all the right stuff to prepare for the round. And to roll out, and I think lap 1 I was third, then lap 2 third, and I ended up finishing the session practice third. I was like, we've got a pretty good shot at it this weekend, and we've actually got genuine pace. And then, I remember sitting in the car for qualifying, turned it on, wouldn't start. It was running rich, wouldn't go, and then like trying to get it out of pit lane, and I was like, oh god, this is just my luck, I guess, in a way with it's going to break down during quali, and then. It shorted out the system and pretty much went back to manifold pressure. And we only had 75% throttle in qualifying, and I think we were 23rd or something like that. So, with full throttle, I think we worked out we would have been, definitely top 5 in our session and made it through to the top 10, the fast 10. So I was disappointing with that, and then obviously the same problem happened in the race. But to know that, I think the team are pretty keen to hopefully get me over there next year for a couple more road courses. So I guess an ideal year next year would be continue what I'm doing here and try and lock in 3 road courses over there next year and sort of hopefully be one of those guys that flies in and helps them out with their road course program.
It's pretty wild, the doors that Shane's kind of opened, and obviously there's been guys before him, but I just think with the direction of NASCAR, with the road courses and what he's been able to do, and what you guys have. You're specialists at that, like you've kind of just been training in the Southern Hemisphere on an island, literally at the thing, at the thing that these guys sort of need. So it's kind of just like a pretty crazy time to be a supercar driver, and amazing to see the synergies between the two sports,
Yeah, it was actually pretty funny. He told me that I had to bring some drinks over that he can't get in America, for him to spot.
What did he ask for?
Oh, what were the name of them, Ainsley? Monteith apple ciders. And I'm like, okay, so I went and got him, and I'm like, how many of these can I bring into the States? He wanted a full carton. I'm like, I can't bring in a full carton. And then he's like, oh, well, if you get deported, I'll just drive your car for the weekend. I'm like, yeah, right. It sounds about right. But flying over there, I took a few. Turns out that they pressurized, so they popped the lids. So I got there, and I'm like, why is my bag all wet? Like, I'm like feeling through it when I got there, and I'm smelling. I'm like, oh, these apple ciders, you're kidding me. So I only had 3 left to give him when I got there. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. Like, after 10 laps, I'm just not going to be a spotter anymore. I'll be like, because he's like, you didn't bring me enough. It's only 10 laps worth. So he was having a good joke about it. I thought it was pretty hilarious. But yeah, I'll have to pack some more next time for him.
That's so cool. And Brock, you did a bunch of the GT stuff, so it's not like you're a stranger to the international racing. But does the old NASCAR call your name?
Yeah, I mean, that is like the number one question that I think we get asked at the moment. Like, especially me, because I haven't done it. Like, when are you going? I mean, obviously, if you get the opportunity to do it, and obviously, Will with RCR did good connection last year and that, so. If you had the opportunity, like, of course you're going to do it. It's like, it's a no-brainer. If you once in a lifetime opportunity to go race something else, you're going to go have a crack at it. So, yeah, I'm not chasing one. Like, I'm not going around talking to NASCAR teams trying to get a drive. But if the opportunity came up, I'd certainly like to do it. But I'd still like to do some more GT stuff. Like, I'd love to, do some more races in Europe and stuff like that. And one of my big ones, I'd love to do a DTM race one day, but love to have a crack in a NASCAR at some point. I'd love to see if Chicago didn't clash with Townsville, because I reckon you'd get 10 supercars wanting to do it. Supercar guys wanting to do it. I reckon that'd be awesome. Like, if it didn't clash for us, and you'd still obviously have to get some funding in the teams, but I reckon it'd be really cool.
I wonder how many guys they'd say, like, no, that's too many. Like, we're cutting you off.
You'd go like Xfinity truck and some in Cup. Like, if you could get 3 in Cup Series and then 5 in Xfinity, like,
it'd be pretty cool.
It'd be awesome. I think it'd be cool to see if we could go do that.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I guess it's not really playing to their strengths, but I mean, it'd be cool to just see a couple of the American boys over, even if it was on an endurance race or something, just be like, give one of the top guys a spot. Like, I just think there is such a cool synergy between the two series. Pretty cool. Like, a bit of a marketing dream for both series if they do it right,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting how keen the series was to have us over there. I didn't think that they'd be, that excited in a way to get me over there.
Yeah.
But the guys were quite keen, and it sounds funny. Some people think I'm just saying it to boost up supercars, but I flew in and I ended up having to go to New York, and I had to catch a small plane from New York to Charlotte, and it was so random. A guy looked over and he goes, "Oh, do you race supercars?" And he was full Southern, like, random guy, and he goes, "Oh yeah, like, I've watched you leading the championship and all this sort of stuff. This is from New York to Charlotte." And I was like, "Oh, you saw that I'm over here doing NASCAR?" He's like, "No, I just watch supercars. I love supercars and GT over there, the WEC." And I was like, "That's so interesting." And then there was a lot of people that came up to me throughout the weekend and got me to sign stuff and said they watch supercars through the new SuperView, which was really interesting. I didn't think there'd be that much support through supercars over there, but I think since Shane's gone and done what he's done, we watch NASCAR every weekend. Like, on a Monday morning, I watched a race, and I think they're doing quite similar and keeping an eye on supercars. So it's interesting. Our fans are saying they're watching NASCAR because of supercars, and their fans are saying similar things. So it's quite funny.
I think if we could get a couple over, like, it'd boost both sports massively. I think
for sure.
It'd be great to see what numbers are now watching NASCAR because of Shane. And I think if one of their top guys came over to Oz and and Americans actually watched it and had an interest, I reckon they'd go, "Man, this series is pretty cool." Like, I think we forget how cool supercars actually is. I think when you watch a lot of series around the world, you realize, we do have some pretty awesome races and stuff like that. So I think if, someone could come out, or we could get a bunch of them to come out and do a race, it would be awesome for both sports.
If they weren't racing every weekend, it'd be cool to get, like, Larson and somebody else to buddy up for Bathurst.
Yeah, that'd be
like
what
the
they did for
guys.
Indy days. Yeah,
because I reckon they're a bit more used to these sort of cars. They are similar to ours than the Indy cars, so it'd be really cool to get them out and get them to do an enduro race or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be cool to get some more internationals again, like even some of the Euro guys, like, they're all capable of doing it. It's just time, and that's a hard thing. I spoke to someone yesterday about it. Like, all the GT guys in Europe are, like, unbelievable drivers, but everyone's nearly got this, like, thing about supercars that it's just so raw and so hard. No ABS, no traction control. You got a heel toe. Like, I think it worries people a little bit on what it's going to be like, but they are pretty different. But I think with a couple of test days and all that, all these guys would be able to adapt. But yeah, it'd be awesome for both sports.
It's honestly pretty incredible, man, when you think about how well Shane's done, and like, Will, for you to go over there and finish your first session P3, like, the skills that you gain as a supercar driver in terms of just car handling skills. I mean, it's pretty rad to see that a domestic series can create, just by being in the series and just by doing your best down here, that you can become one of the best drivers in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the competition here is so much stiffer than a lot of people think. Like, everyone here, it's like I did WTCR and was able to win 2 of those races at Sydney, and, like, it seems like when a lot of our guys, Broc in the shootout at Bathurst. I know we know Bathurst well, but in the GT car, would you qualify first or second?
Yeah.
In that as well, and first Mercedes as well. So beat a lot of the other Mercedes factory drivers that are racing them every weekend. So I think that Supercars does show that it's operating to a really high level, and that when we compete in other categories, we can compete at a top level.
What, like, knowing the difference, or you've raced Supercars and NASCAR, like, from a team perspective, how different is it? What do they do better? What do they do maybe, or what has maybe Australia kind of got dialed?
I think the most interesting thing was, how big the workshops are, the teams. Like, RCR's not the biggest team, and they have over 400 employees, which was
Wow.
just huge. And the workshop's massive. They've got 3 pickleball courts in the workshop, and then they've got like a full size, commercial gym and all of that. But I think some of it, like, I felt in a way that I struggled a little bit with the pre-briefing side of it, because I think for them, they are racing every weekend. So you've only got Monday to debrief or Tuesday to debrief, and then you've got to be getting ready for your next weekend. So we probably spend a week and a half to 2 weeks prepping for an event, don't we? Like, you're already, we spend a week to debrief, and then we start planning for the next race. And because that's 3 weeks away, you have so long to get ready and go through all the stuff, where for them over there, they're not focused on Sonoma until 2 to 3 days before, because that's when they can focus on it. So that was an interesting side of it. But the teams, that's why they need so many personnel to make sure that they can try and execute every weekend and try and win. But it was interesting. There was a few things we could learn, a few things that we could help out with. But overall, just a great experience.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. So yeah, I guess what have you guys been doing in between? Like the races, like, well, obviously you've been a little bit busy, but start a new business as well. Like, you're kind of making some moves.
Give it a pump up, mate.
Yeah, give it a pump
Yeah,
up.
give it a plug.
Good old KDK car carriers. It's great. It's been quite funny, but like, I guess my thing, I've always been doing stuff in mum and dad's business since I left. Like, I've worked in it the whole time and helped dad run that, and it's grown a lot over the time. And then, a trucking company that we used to use all our cars, they were going to retire, and bought that. So that's been interesting. It was something sort of, I guess, mum and dad's business was quite successful when I came into it. So I was seeing if I could do something a little bit on my own.
Yeah.
And I had a really good mate of mine that was working for Lindsay's and moved quite, a way through, and they'd promoted him a lot, and thought he'd be a good candidate to come on board. So it's always new businesses. You've got to look at all things, and just trying to work out how trucks work and all that sort of stuff. I have no idea, but it's been a bit of fun so far.
And is it like kind of good thing to have there to detach from racing?
Yeah, I sort of enjoy going away from a race meet and sort of putting it behind me in a way. Like I'm probably different to Broc in a way. We're two different people from that side. Like, Broc really likes, I guess, delving into it, working out why. I'm like, even at Darwin, I'm like, well, Broc just did a better job than me in qualifying. I'll study where he got me and all of that, but I'm not going to delve too far into it, because then I feel like I'm thinking about the negative too much for me. So I just want to focus on the next round. How can I do the best job at Townsville? So I enjoy going home and working the business. I've been at the car yard since Monday when I got home till today, Friday, and doing some stuff in KDK. So yeah, it's just sort of how I was brought up though. Like, mum and dad have had the business since I was a kid, and I was going there every day after work. So I've always just been so involved in it that I've wanted to stay involved since getting, since starting my racing career.
Yeah. Oh, that's sick. And Broc, you had wings for life. You're a bit of a runner. You're wearing the Nike shirt, like you're wearing the uniform. And, yeah, Gold Coast is popping off, I hear, with the whole running thing. But how was that?
I stay pretty clear away from that. But,
yeah.
So I explain, I'm a bad runner that just runs. So I'm still a bad runner, but I
Me
can
too,
run better.
brother.
Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I did Wings for Life. There was about 6 or 7 of us from Triple Eight, and my brother. He's actually doing, he's got a 35K trail run next week, and then he's doing Gold Coast Marathon when we're in Townsville. So he's been right into it this year, which has been awesome, because we've been really close and training and that together, which has been good. So Yeah, the Wings for Life was awesome. Like, I've never done a running event before, but it was so much fun, like, sort of like competing, but just, it was around a 400-meter track at UQ in Brisbane, around their running track. It started at 9 p.m. at night in Oz, so it was quite difficult staying up that late to run. But yeah, I ended up doing 24.5K, which I was pretty pumped about. Like, you race against a virtual car, so it takes off after 30 minutes, and then every 30 minutes it picks up by like a kilometer. So you sort of get in your headphones, like it goes through the app and it's like, oh, it's 3K behind you, it's 2K, 1K. So yeah, I expected to do like 15 to 20. Like, I would have been pumped if I got a half, but yeah, to do 24, I was pretty pumped about. Geordie, my number one mechanic from work, he did 33.5, I think. I think he got third for the event that we were at. And then I think Australia, the best was 54K, and then the world was like 72K or something like this. And yeah, it's crazy. Like, it was so much fun though, like a great event. I spoke to him. I'm like, I'd like to get the car down next year and do a few things at UQ.
You're gonna have the car out there actually being the chase car.
Yeah, I'm gonna start and then just do laps.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna win.
That'd be me, so I didn't have to run.
Yeah, but no, it's such a great event, and to see people there that obviously got spinal injuries and that, you know, that's what the whole thing's for, raising awareness for that, and trying to, you know, work towards getting a cure or something like. So to see people there, and they were fans of motorsport, and that was really cool, and it was good fun. Like, hopefully we can get more people to do it next year.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so we won't see you guys again until the Q3 report. So what's the I guess what's the expectations coming up? You got Townsville, you got Sydney, then we go to Tassie.
It's gonna be cold.
What's on the radar, boys? Yeah, Tassie will be cold.
Middle of August.
Try beat Broc in all three.
Good.
That's my plan. Plans don't always go to plan though.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see.
No, it's good going back to like Townsville, the long races again, like the 250K races.
Yeah.
They're heaps of fun. Like, I obviously wish we could do them every weekend nearly.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. So good going back there. And then yeah, Sydney and Tassie got the Olympics. We got a little. I think we take 3 or 4 weeks off for the Olympics to get the TV. And then yeah, it'll be enduro time probably next time we start to talk to you, which will be pretty exciting. So no, it's good. There's a bit going on. The next 4-6 weeks are pretty busy for us. Like, we got sort of 3 races in 5-6 weeks, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't mind trying to get to one. I'll be back, so it'd be cool to try and come and hang out at one of them. So when's so I'm out for Townsville because I'm gonna run the half marathon at the Gold Coast.
Oh yeah, sick.
Yeah, my wife's actually I stitched her up, man. I signed her up for Christmas.
I'd be in so much trouble if I signed my girlfriend up for a marathon.
Oh, I was, bro. Yeah.
She'd be like, what are you trying to say about me?
Yeah.
Like, it's just it wouldn't go well. No, that'll be
she
cool.
made the little jab. I started running a bunch, and she's like, "Oh, well, anyone could run a marathon," and I was like, "Cool."
That's good then. I like that you signed her up.
But anyway, so I've been. I had a crash at Glen Helen and like kind of cooked my ankle a little bit, so I lost like a bunch of time, like prepping for the full thing. So I was like, oh, I can do a half off the couch kind of thing. I don't think I could do a full one off the couch, but so I'm out for Townsville. But so there's
should come to
Sydney, and then because that's the night race, eh?
Yeah, 19th to 21st of July.
Yeah, okay, I might be able to come to that one. And Tassie's always good, even though it's cold. Tassie's always good.
Tassie's great. Middle of August, man. It's gonna be
tire temp's gonna be hard to get.
We're gonna be doing like 10 laps in qualifying, just
trying to get the tires. Yeah,
it'll be interesting.
Nah, well, awesome, boys. This was super fun as always. You guys, you're crushing it. I'm very happy for both of yous, and keep on doing it, boys. The battles have been unreal, and we'll chat at version 3 of this thing.
Sounds good, mate.
Sounds good.
Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Epic, boys.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.